I feel like I'm getting old.
I mean, if we keeping a buck right now, we ass.
Yes, the bad teams in the NFL are even worse this year. If you're trying to understand why the Saints, Jets, Panthers, Bengals, Titans, Browns are dragging the bottom of the league right now, it's 5 different horror stories, and I'm not sure any of them are going to be resolved soon. Over the last few seasons, it felt like even the worst teams in the league were playing competitive football or stealing some early wins. So far this year, I'm getting the impression the worst teams in the league are particularly bad. I mean, we've already had 2 shutouts this season. 2. In 2024, the first shutout didn't come until week 16 when Green Bay throttled the Saints team who had already given up on the season with interim toilet clogger Darren Rizzi at head coach. The other shutout was the Broncos' 38-0 win over Kansas City week 18. Also not a true shutout because the Chiefs were resting their starters and rolling with Carson Wentz. We're now in October, the month of scary stuff, and there's nothing spookier than where these teams find themselves in 2025. Except for maybe Robert Saleh. Imagine wanting to fight that guy. The only way I'd get mad at Saleh is if he refused to hold me in my time of need with those big, strong arms. I am Brandon Perna, and I'm going to explain why 2025's bottom-feeding teams are even worse than usual. And we're less than 4,000 subscribers away from 800,000. Please subscribe, or someone might make a video about why I'm the worst football YouTuber soon. Huh? No. Don't want to curse the sponsor. Ooh. I'd never curse my precious Element, today's sponsor. Element, what is it? It's a zero sugar electrolyte drink mix and sparkling water aimed at helping you stay hydrated and hitting optimal sodium levels. Now, Element sent me some of their sparkling waters this month, and they're just as good as the packs that you mix with your water, but with that bubbly chaser. Now, I started using Element with my bike rides, right? Indoor, outdoor, and maybe it's because I'm so good and strong in the yams now that I've sweated through an obscene amount of clothing this year. It's my sweatiest year to date, and I'm a belly sweater now. I sweat through my belly. Is that okay? Is that healthy? Can somebody tell me belly sweat's good if you're working out? Like, it's a lot. If you're sweating, you're losing salt and electrolytes. Element helps you put that back in your body. If you're very active, these might be a good ad for your fitness routine. I've been doing 30-plus mile rides a lot, and I need the fluids so my legs don't fall off or cramp up. Anytime my body starts to hurt during exercise, I think, oh no, I hope that doesn't fall off. Each pack has a perfect dose of electrolytes free of sugar, artificial colors, and all the stuff you don't want in your drink. Element is now giving anyone who uses my link below a new sample pack that features 2 packs of their most popular flavors. That's 4 flavors, 8 total samples for you to try. It's for new or existing customers when you use my link and make a purchase with Element. Belly sweat's okay, right? Now, I should address the elephant in the room before I start talking shit about the aforementioned worst teams in the league. Shouldn't the Baltimore Ravens be on this list as well? They're 1-3. They're behind the Bengals in the shockingly woeful AFC North, and their casualties have been many, to say the least, but at the end of the day, they are the Baltimore Ravens. They should be winning. But also, if there's any team that's going to dig themselves out of a 1-3 hole, I would bet on the team that has a 2-time MVP at quarterback on the roster. Well, when he gets healthy anyway. Needless to say, though, it's been nothing short of weird seeing this team get their asses kicked a couple times already this season. After watching the 49ers defeat the Rams with half their team out with injury and a banged-up Mac Jones at QB, I changed my mind. You do suck, Baltimore.
Fuck you, Baltimore!
You're terrible, you deserve to be on this list, and you're killing Stavros.
To the NFL and Roger Goodell.
We are anonymous, a group of gay little computer guys that will make it, we will hack into your shit if you don't make the fucking Ravens stop being bad at football.
New Orleans is 0-4 and already living the consequences of a hard pivot. Derek Carr, of course, retired in May with a torn labrum and a degenerative shoulder issue. It's hard to escape Vegas without becoming degenerative, though, so that was expected.
No! Fuck you! Fuck! You fucking... Ah!
That shoved the Saints straight into the Spencer Rattler era under first-year head coach Kellen Moore. Spencer Rattler won the quarterback job over Tyler Shuck in late August, but the offense has been red zone allergic and just lost starting guard Cesar Ruiz with a high ankle sprain. Ruiz? Further shuffling an already fragile line. That's how you end up winless, even when Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller run it well. That said, Rattler hasn't been the worst part of the team. He might be the best quarterback I've seen, with 0 career wins and double-digit losses. I wonder at what point they move on to the second-round pick, Shuck.
I'm not entirely sure. You're going to have to go to God about that.
But Rattler hasn't been the major problem. One reason we all thought the Saints would be bad is their roster. It lacks at every level, but when you draft a QB in the second round and he loses the job to a second-year QB that you took in the 5th, that's a rarity. It's usually a seasoned veteran you're rolling with in those situations, but hey, maybe Rattler's just the next Tom Brady. The Saints feel like a team utterly lacking direction. They're in perpetual cap purgatory, possibly hell, and at this moment in time, we have no proof they have a franchise quarterback on their roster. I can't say I've been terribly impressed by Kellen Moore, but I don't know how to separate his coaching abilities from the complete dearth of talent on the Saints. This team has been totally listless since Sean Payton walked away, and it feels like they're still a couple seasons away from riding the ship. On to New York, Jersey. The Jets' mess is a very specific level of fucked up. They flew out Aaron Rodgers and tried to essentially copy the Steelers' homework from a year ago. Rodgers signed with the Steelers in June. New York hired Aaron Glenn as head coach and handed the offense to Justin Fields on a 2-year deal. Through 4 weeks, they are 0-4 with a run-first identity, but a passing game stuck in the mud, and injuries are chipping away at the margins. Short yardage back and return man Braylon Allen is out with an MCL sprain. Justin Fields has already been in concussion protocol once. He returned. He remains the starter, but the bigger theme is the same as always. Lots of defense, lots of run game, and not enough explosive, clean passing to finish drives. The Jets are currently the worst kind of bad. They do enough to have a chance to win, but get in their own way and ultimately lose. Against another bad team, the Dolphins, they fumbled the ball away twice. They blocked a kick and returned a touchdown against the Bucs and then gave up the game-winning score. There's a chance they can start flipping some of these games into wins, but not until their quarterback can get rid of the ball more quickly. The Jets are the only team allowing their quarterback to be pressured on over 50% of their fucking snaps. I really don't think you can blame it all on the offensive line either. In fact, rookie tackle Armand Membao has been good. Fields always has some flashes in a game, but New York has a quarterback problem, which of course is nothing new for the Jets. They actually looked really good in week 1 too. Ironically, against the Steelers. Justin Fields looked like he had instant chemistry with Garrett Wilson, while Breece Hall went on an effortless 100 yards on the ground. But once they relinquished that double-digit point lead at home, it just started to feel like the same old Jets.
The goddamn Jets.
The same old Jets that would lose 2 weeks later in equally heartbreaking fashion in Tampa. Then I mentioned Monday Night Football felt like a new low point for a team whose expectations have been consistently subterranean, allowing a pair of TDs to a former rapper.
Every time I ran a route, they had the whole fucking team on me.
And a head coach in Mike McDaniel who's hanging on to his job by a thread. Down in Carolina, though, things are even worse. The Panthers are so bad, their podcasters are quitting. The people who talk about the team in the name of passion and fandom can't take it anymore.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
When you lose the team-specific podcasters, you've lost the frickin' war, Carolina.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Beal.
There's no stat, no EPA, pressure rate, touchdown to interception ratio, no win-loss total, no QB sack numbers, no IR list more damning than breaking your own podcasters' hearts and souls.
It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life.
And may God have mercy on those born into Panthers fandom.
What point do I just say we're the new Browns? We're the new Jets. We're right there.
Panthers fans might start asking David Tepper to sling drinks on them again just so they can feel something on Sundays. Carolina's 1-3 start looks like a support beam problem. Has there ever been a team as bad as Carolina whose sole victory was a 30-0 shutout over a division opponent? I don't think so. Bryce Young still has the variance of a developing quarterback. Teteroa McMillan has been a bright rookie spot. Thank God they have one skill player they drafted actually on the field. Xavier Legette is injured, but even before the injury, he did not look good.
I wouldn't necessarily say I sit back and learned anything. I'm just ready to get back.
That's a player Carolina desperately needs to take a leap in year 2. His week 2 performance, of finishing with 1 catch for -2 yards, is elite, but he was targeted 8 times in that game. Jonathan Brooks and his unfortunate ACL tear last year is just another example of unfortunate things happening to Carolina no matter what this team does. They are damned. Another issue, the offensive line keeps changing weekly. They put Robert Hunt and Austin Corbett on IR in mid-September, and it's been patchwork since. That's how you get a 42-13 meltdown in Foxborough, amplified by special teams disasters. Hunt is one of the highest paid players on their team, and Carolina's massive investment in their trenches has not paid off. When your protection is musical chairs and you're asking a young quarterback to dig out of multi-score holes, all the little gains vanish. At some point, they'll have to make a long-term decision on Bryce Young, and I'm not sure the body of work in total would justify a second deal for the former Heisman winner at this point. And at that point, they'll have to accept the trade-up to get him might be one of the worst in recent NFL history. The only thing the Panthers can say right now that's true is we're not the worst team in the league. That might be Tennessee. It's the cleanest explanation of all. The Titans, they're ass. No Will Levis, a brand new Cam Ward, and an offensive line that can't keep him upright. Levis had season-ending shoulder injury in July. Ward was immediately thrown into the fire and has taken a league-high beating. 6 sacks week 1, 11 through 2 games, 15 last week. He has 17 now, and maybe the most infuriating thing, if you're a Titans fan, is the week he was sacked the least, Tennessee scored 0 points and Cam played his worst game of the season. Does Cam Ward need to get hit to play better?
Come on, I want you to do it, I want you to do it. Come on, hit me.
Ward has given flashes of hope. He has, but that doesn't change the fact that Tennessee's offense worked just as well with Will Levis, if not better. The Titans have scored just 3 touchdowns through 4 games. They had 8 by this time last year. Tennessee's start in terms of points scored at 51 is sending them down a path to be on pace to crack the top 10 in fewest points scored per game in a season. They're sitting at 12.8 right now. The 06 Raiders were 10th worst all time at 10.5 points per game. If you really focus, Brian Callahan, you can top that. And I believe in you, Brian. I believe you can be worse than the 06 Raiders.
I know what you're doing, and I'm not going to answer that shit right now.
I do not think Tennessee will accomplish that horrific feat, but I really have no faith in this current coaching staff, especially after Brian Callahan gave up play calling duties to his quarterback coach, only to see his team score 0 points.
I mean, if we keeping a buck right now, we ass.
Imagine knowing you're bad at something or not living up to expectations and being man enough to admit that, and then entrusting that responsibility to somebody else that you believe in, only to see them do worse than you. That's like saying, you know what? I just don't have the time to mow the grass anymore. I'm gonna hire a professional. And when you look out your window, that person simply set your lawn on fire. And if you think I'm reaching for that metaphor, let me remind you, Tennessee had a literal fire on their field before a game a few years ago. And that's when things were going well for the Titans. Right tackle J.C. Latham missed the last 3 games. He's still not practicing. That contributes to the poor protection, but if he misses a 4th straight game, then you blame the coaching staff for not placing him on IR. The Titans are tied for 3rd worst with 8.8 penalties per game. You can't evaluate the quarterback when he's picking tire marks off his jersey and helping the officials pick up flags on the field. 0-4 isn't a mystery when the offense spins every Sunday behind the chains. And when Cam Ward gets the ball out, he's being betrayed by his ball catchers with the 3rd worst drop rate in the league. Calvin Ridley is leading the way for the team with 4 drops on the season. Ward also has the 3rd worst bad throw percentage as well. So that is a terrible cocktail. 1 so watered down, you need 8 just to get a slight buzz. This is a team that can't get rid of its head coach quickly enough. I genuinely have no idea how Brian Callahan still has a job after coaching this team to a 3-18 record over his first 21 games.
Pass.
Then we've got the Texans, who I don't think are as bad as the Titans. The only reason Houston has a mark in the win column is because they played the Titans. A 26-0 victory will cure what ails you, right, Houston? For the Texans, the thing that ails them is everything. They have just 6 touchdowns this season. 3 came because they played Tennessee. Had the Texans not played the worst team in the league, they would be getting crucified right now. And here's my issue. C.J. Stroud just hasn't been good. I know, we've blamed their offensive line for most of the problems, and a lot of that is probably fair and true. At the moment, though, Stroud's getting pressured on 35.4% of his dropbacks, which is about 17th in the league. Cam Ward and Justin Fields are the most pressured. Fields, 51.1%. Remember that shit. Okay? Houston made a change this offseason at offensive coordinator. They have found a nice weapon at running back in Woody Marks and drafted receiving help. I'm going to give their offense another month to develop here before I officially put them in the worst of the worst. But when I watch them right now, I see Stroud as one of the bigger problems on the team. He's not playing well.
I feel like I'm getting old. So I'm not as quick as I used to be.
But he has played well, so I think he can figure it out. And right now, they're a pretty unprecedented unit, given they're allowing the fewest points in the NFL while also mustering up the 4th fewest of any team. And that's a huge reason they started this year 0-3 in 1-score games, okay? Cincinnati, they're 2-2. Their record doesn't look like the worst, but the trajectory does, right? I actually think the Bengals are the worst team in the NFL right now. They're at least tied with the Titans. If they played the Titans, I think we could actually see a 0-0 tie. Joe Burrow suffered that grade 3 turf toe injury in week 2 and is out for at least 2.5 months. Jake Browning has the keys, but he's driving like Rashee Rice at this point. The offense has sputtered, just 13 points across the last 2 games, while Zach Taylor publicly backs his QB and tries to scheme around it. Taylor is now getting calls to lose his job, but knowing how long it took this organization to get rid of Marvin Lewis, Zach might outlive Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, guys. How bad has the Bengals offense been since losing Joe Burrow? I'll start with this and continue to elaborate. Cincinnati has 200 team rushing yards. There are 21 running backs who have more yards on the ground than the Bengals as a team this year, including Chuba Hubbard at 217. That's a banged up back on another atrocious team who has been more productive than your entire run game, Cincinnati, which you might want to have with the backup on the field. The Bengals have run the fewest offensive plays this season, meaning they can't sustain drives. The Ravens have actually run the 2nd fewest. So again, damn, Baltimore, you do suck.
Fuck you, Baltimore!
Factor in the third fewest passing yards per game with abysmal rushing production, okay? There's nothing working for the Bengals offense. Backup extraordinaire Jake Browning has been ineffective, and the offensive line in front of him, terrible. Joe Burrow's ability to mitigate pressure with dysfunctional trenches in front of him needs to be studied. His Dan Marino career trajectory is starting to become alarming to me, and I might spend the rest of the year making a case for Joe Burrow as MVP. I truly believe the Bengals' performance on Monday night against the Broncos was one of the most pathetic efforts I have ever seen a pro football team deliver. They had a really solid march down the field and led 3-0 before completely floundering on offense and getting killed in time of possession. It felt like they couldn't buy an explosive play, which actually holds up given that, and this is shocking, the Bengals have the fewest explosive plays in the NFL since 2022. This is a team so devoid of explosions, they have to pay to be on a terrorist watch list. That's hard to believe, and a real indictment of Zach Taylor. Again, see what Kyle Shanahan is doing with McCorkle Jones and whoever the fuck is alive on the 49ers roster. And at the bottom of the AFC North by record, it's the Browns sitting at 1-3. And already they're starting to cycle through QBs again. Joe Flacco was brought in as a veteran bridge, but threw 6 picks in just 4 starts, and he got benched. So rookie Dylan Gabriel is taking over in Week 5 while Shadur Sanders takes a bizarre vow of silence in front of the media.
Yeah, I'll be ready.
It's another turn in a saga defined by instability, especially after last year's 3-14 collapse that led to them getting the 2nd overall pick. The offensive line has been shaky again with DeJuan Jones sidelined after surgery, and the shadow of Deshaun Watson and his trade still hangs heavy and soiled. His guaranteed contract and lost draft picks, blah, 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 left Cleveland with little margin for error. The defense, though, they've got some young new bright spots. Mason Graham and Carson Schwarzenegger.
That's right.
The offense hasn't given much to work with, have they? And the team is once again leaning into reset mode that feels all too familiar. Right now, the silver lining for the Browns is that they so far might have dodged a bullet trading out of the 2nd overall pick. Jacksonville doesn't look like it has any clue in what to do with Travis Hunter, as evidenced by his 13 receptions for 118 yards and no touchdowns on offense. Getting Mason Graham plus a haul of picks in exchange for giving up the rights to a wide receiver 3 is looking like an extremely rare stroke of both genius and impulse control for the Browns. Judkins looks good running the ball, so I think early returns say Cleveland nailed their draft. And in the biggest plot twist of all, I'm optimistic for the Browns' future, sorta. A good draft means they can have good players on the cheap, which is one way to mitigate the remainder of Deshaun Watson's contract, right? And I think their offense might function better with Dylan Gabriel. This team can win games with sustained drives and field goals because their defense is that good right now. And Dylan might not give up the starting role all season. Maybe the Browns wiggle their way out of this mess. But all of these teams are lacking a very essential light at the end of the tunnel. As it stands right now, there's not a clear-cut prize for winning the 1st overall pick this year. That's the worst part. Over the offseason, you could have talked yourself into a scenario where a team might be okay tanking for Arch Manning. But after actually watching Arch Manning play for Texas, there's no way he willingly leaves college early while he still has so much to clean up. And who knows if he's ever actually going to be worthy of a 1st overall selection based on the tape itself and not the fact that he came out of Cooper Manning's balls. All right?
Let's keep my balls out of it.
Maybe a guy like John Mater or Lenoris Sellers or Fernando Mendoza becomes a QB you can feel good about taking 1st overall. And obviously that's not going to even be the case for Tennessee or Cincinnati, but the Saints or Browns or Panthers would probably resign themselves to drafting any of those guys. But as it stands, it's a bad year to have a bad year in the NFL. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. I can't make a living if you don't subscribe. I can't feel good about myself if you don't subscribe. I need to be popular on YouTube, or my wife will leave me. Or my wife will leave me.
The world is a business, Mr. Beale.